weed, it was your favorite flower for the few minutes you had it. And you're sad. That's empathy. That's empathy. So if they have a consequence and they feel sad and angry and mad at even you, that's understandable, I understand. But you have to have the courage to be disliked. I can feel sorry that you're upset at me. Like, yeah, I remember being mad to my parents when I got grounded too. That's okay. Then you go eat your dinner. I mean, you just absorb it. That's what empathy is all about. You got to get disliked and move on with life. If you do not give yourself permission to be disliked by them, you'll teach them that they can manipulate you. They'll work you like a puppet. And then you're going to teach them, when they do that successfully, you'll teach them they can do that with the rest of the world. And they can turn to master manipulators. They don't need to take responsibility at work, they just try to manipulate their boss or manipulate their coworkers. You teach them character by what you do to them and what you allow, and that's why consequences are so important. You're preparing them again for the real world. Yes?
I was just going to ask, what do you say about if loss doesn't help, giving them something, positive consequences, where you give them a task? Like, for instance, JJ one time got in trouble, so I had him, like, scrub the wall behind the trash can. What do you say about that?
Gotcha. So what about a consequence of not just the loss of something, but like a task, like scrub the wall behind? I agree. That's right. I agree with that as a way of, yes. So like I said, for consequences are chiefly about loss, chiefly. So in that sense, you're a loss plus. That is, you lose playing or do something you would enjoy. Now you have to scrub off the mess. And that's exactly right. So we have to talk about, in examples in middle page 25, redoing poor work before moving on, for example, or working extra chores to pay for the thing you broke. So you lose that free time you thought you'd have. In addition, now you're having to make up. I completely agree. Completely agree. And notice how, in that example, you didn't say this, but I'm assuming it. Let's say, for example, your child does the marking on the wall. The child should clean that marking. It's not the same. It's not the same as my child, you got a bad grade because you were being lazy, frankly, and you didn't do the grades, and now you have to go and clean the yard for 12 hours straight. That doesn't make some parents now go wash my car and everybody's car. It's just that is not at all proportionate to what occurred. But if they marked it up, they should mark it up. If that's their mess, they should clean up their mess, and so forth. Exactly right. That's exactly right. That teaches the real world. That's what happens. You take there's a consequence for that. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Yeah, all the while you've explained it. No, I don't want to, I understand, but you did this. This is what you do. You need to do this. This is your responsibility. Speaking of that responsibility, on top of page 26, quick review, responsibility. And I said the first thing is this. First is children have to be taught to reflect on if they've contributed. If they've contributed. They might not have, but children need help because their first instinct is to go, it's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's not my fault. So we're pausing to say, before you look at the speck in the other eye of your colleague and worker and student and teacher and whomever and your sibling, your brother, sister, did you have a log in your own eye? Did you contribute at all? If they didn't, they didn't. We're just trying to make sure it's their responsibility that they reflect on that. That's what people with character do. Have I contributed at all to this? And then we want to raise children that grow up to be adults to go, I didn't get a pay raise at all. Am I contributing to this? Am I being lazy? Am I not a hard worker? Did I ask my boss for that? They go, am I not contributing to the team well enough? You will have taught him to the person to be self-reflective. The second major point is that they believe uncomfortable is the same as being unable. And so they don't want to be responsible for things if it's uncomfortable. I don't want to own that. This is hard. I can't do it. I'm not responsible for doing my homework because it's tough. I'm not responsible for cleaning out the aquarium because because it's hard to me. I'm not responsible for things that are uncomfortable to me. I'm not responsible for things that I don't want to do. They seem too out of my league. We have to teach them that's just not true. Uncomfortable doesn't mean impossible. Uncomfortable doesn't mean you don't have responsibility for it anymore. At all. But having said that, third, there are things for which they do need help, and they cannot be responsible for them. There are tasks that are way outside of their league, and they need to be taught that's okay. It's appropriate. I gave the analogy of Hayden coming and grabbing the transformer and the directions, go here, go do it. I go, nope, baby, I love you. You get this, start working. I trained him, unravel this thing, this little roadmap of I showed him how to do it. I got him like 1-2 pieces moved, and now go practice at it. Okay, Mom, will you do it for me? Anyways, but eventually he started doing it on his own. Now he get stuck, and it would not fit. And he'd say, Dad, I did try. I said, I could see that. You're 70% there. Now I'll help you from there. Or you can't undo a jar, and you can't reach higher than you. He's not taller than 3 feet, and it's 6 feet in the air. Just do it. One time, my son was mercenary. He would do anything for money. It was just a sickness from his mom's side. And anything. And I used to go, son, this makes me nervous. You pay, I'll give you $10. Really? So we were in Granbury seeing my dad, and there was this ladder on the side of a building that came down. It didn't come to the ground. I mean, this thing was, you would assume a firefighter or someone would have put a ladder to the bottom and then reach to the top of it, get to the top of the ceiling, the roof or whatever. Like you couldn't just, I mean, I'm 6'3", I couldn't touch it. I mean, it must have been 15 feet for the bottom of the ladder. I said, son, Hayden, now he's 4 feet tall. He's like, I don't know, 7. I'll give you $20 if you can grab that ladder. He goes, really? Yeah, I'll give you $20 if you can get that. Now I thought he'd start laughing like, ha ha ha, because it's so high. Oh, no. He goes to the bottom and guess what he does? He literally sits there and son, I'm kidding with you. Well, you said $20. Baby, I'm just joking with you. Okay, it's outside of their ability. My son could never have touched that. But imagine for a second we weren't just we joked about it and he laughed, ha ha ha. But instead of disappointed, he almost had $20. What if I said, no, you're to blame because you can't do that? Well, that's silly. Adults, the parents should have the wisdom and the wherewithal to go, that's way beyond your skill set. So it's okay to ask for help, baby. It's okay. I don't want you constantly anxious, which is just fear, to ask for things when you do need it. And so if you come for me with a need and say, hey, Dad, can you help? Hey, Mom, can you help with this? And they'll go, no, do it yourself. The first thing we do is we pause and go, sure, what's the problem? And then, Bob, you analyze, you go, no, baby, you can do that yourself. Yeah. Well, I don't, no, baby, you can. You make your bed? Yeah, I mean, when I've shown you how to do this, I've showed you the skill set, I coached you, you know how to do it. You can pick the pillows up. Well, I don't want to. I know. But as soon as you're done, you go play. You can stay in your room all day long, it's fine. But I mean, if I were a kid, I'd want to go play. I would have make that in 36 seconds. I'd be out the door. You see your friends, they're having a good time. I don't want to. I know. Okay. All right, love you. I'll see you later. But if they come in the room with something very different, I'm trying to get these things fell off the top of the roof. Don't yell at them because they can't figure out a way. No, we're gracious and kind. We're helping to separate uncomfortable versus you do need help. And that responsibility will save them the rest of their entire life. I've known many adults who refuse to ask for help. They don't ask for help. Not just men and women. Nope, I'm fine. Nope, that's for other people. I don't need a therapist. I don't need a pastor. I don't need anybody to help me ever. They feel deep shame if they needed to ask for help. And it probably comes from childhood where they were shamed for asking for things. It's very sad. It's unfortunate because that's ridiculous. God designed us to need people when we cannot do it ourselves. We have to ask for things we cannot do. And it's okay to lean upon people. And then we grow up and heal, and then we don't need it as much, ideally. Yeah.
So is that where the whole, I feel like a burden to people when I ask for things, is that where it stems from?
Because I feel like a burden. Yeah, So for most people, that feeling of I feel like a burden, if I ask for anything, I feel like a burden, almost certainly was taught in childhood. And it might have been a caretaker, it might have been someone at school one time who just said, stop asking for things, and it just got stuck deep inside in a wounded part. We don't know. But yeah, probably there was a pattern that said when you asked for something, you got shamed for it. Why can't you figure that out? You're always asking me for something. I'm trying to nap. Why can't you just figure it out? We get fussed at when we have a desire and need. Now again, if we were backtracking, a healthy parent one more time might go, they would graciously go, what do you need, baby? Right? There would be kindness and compassion because my child's asking for something. And then we go, oh, baby, no, you can do it yourself versus you don't fuss at them instantaneously. But a lot of us got fussed at when we had requests. And then we start learning there's something wrong with my needs and requests, and it's bad. I'll always get fussed at by other people all the time. And in childhood, it teaches us when parents do it and caretakers do it, it teaches that the world's unsafe. It teaches that my needs are bad or dangerous because if I say, hey, can you pass me a pencil? I'll get in trouble for it. And so I've known people, students in classes, they won't ask for it. Why didn't you tell me to have a piece of paper? Teacher, I would have gotten you. Why didn't you tell me you had a pencil? They'll just shrivel down versus, what's wrong with you? It breaks your heart. And you just see why didn't you tell me you didn't have so-and-so? Because they were taught, Either I get fussed at, or the opposite, which is when another was with parents who have if they're addicts, drunks, weed addicts, crack addicts, whatever, or they're serious disorders. My needs simply don't get a result. That is, no, I cry out in the echo in the darkness, and no one's going to help me. So I don't feel shame; it feels useless. So my needs are there, but they're useless. No one will come help me, and that's different from I'm a bother. That says no one will care. And those are usually two extremes of why people don't ask for things typically. Now, the other, of course, is normal, just pride. But trauma related, usually one of those two things. Yeah, please, please.
We heard growing up, you don't know that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She said, we heard growing up, you don't know that? Yeah, that makes you feel encouraged, doesn't it? It just builds you up. What's wrong with you? It's why it's the same thing when kids in school and they go, that's easy. As soon as the teacher gives a lesson and the kid shouts out, that's easy. That's their way of declaring, I beat it. What about the kids in the class for whom it's not easy? And so I remember in class, I used to tell my students, I'd say, please don't say that. I didn't explain, because there are people in this room for whom it's not easy. Good for you, just keep your mouth closed. Now they're celebrating, I understand it. But it comes across as the people who suffer from shame. You don't know that?
You hesitate to ask the next time.
That's exactly right. You hesitate to ask. You don't know that? No, I don't. I would not have asked. Why can't I feel safe to be ignorant? What difference does that make? I don't know. Who gives a rip? I don't know. Can you help me or not? I don't know. And I could tell you stories of my ignorance. But we're out of time. I could tell you numerous stories of my proton ignorance. And people are like, you didn't know that? I have a master's degree. I remember this. I remember. Page 26. Any questions or comments so far in the review? Any questions, comments? Responsibility. Choices. We teach children the power of choices. It gives them dignity, a sense of self-worth, right? It helps them take ownership. Like God gave Adam and Eve a choice. And love without choice is just coercion. We want to give kids choices. Allow children as many choices as they can developmentally handle. Food options, clothing, activities, problem solving. If they fail without harm, then let them fail. I told you last time, Elaine was fantastic. Elaine taught me this. It's great. I gave you an example. Do you want apple juice or water? Do you want milk, apple juice, or water? Give them some choices. And you know those are safe options. Just give them some choices and let them do it. And if it doesn't harm them, let them fail at it. You want to do this or this, and they try this and it failed. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have let you. No, they just failed. They bumped their knee, they failed the race, they failed the test, but they tried. They tried to get that skill set. And the first 15 times they didn't, great, but it didn't harm them. Good for you, baby, good for you. Try again. Do you want to try again? You can do it. Teaches resilience. But you're giving them choices. Even if they fail, that's okay. If your child says no, if you can respect it, respect it. Now, what I mean is, you're trying to respect their boundaries, and not trying. You need to if you're healthy at all. That includes things like tickling, touching them, sharing, things in the time alone, even prayer. If they don't want to pray with you, when you respect their no, you model how God respects ours. So the point is, you want to allow them, you don't want to force certain things upon them. Now, sometimes you're like, I'm not sure if this is the right time thing, and that's fine. But if you can respect it, respect it. So, for example, and this is common. I'm trying to give all the common examples. This is common for particularly girls. Boys don't do this as much, but it's fine. But particularly girls around teenage years, all of a sudden, maybe before then, they're going to want to dress however they want to dress. They're sick and tired of mom telling them how to dress, and they're going to just wear their hair. I mean, I saw all kinds of girls. Elaine used to babysit. She's always been in children's ministry. And they'd walk into church, and the moms immediately, because the embarrassment they feel because their daughter's dressed this way, they look at Elaine and go, she wanted to do her own hair, and her hair's flopped everywhere. She's got mixed match shoes, a dress and a Spider-Man purse. I mean, whatever. And he's like, she dressed herself. I mean, listen to the shame and embarrassment the mom feels. I didn't do it. And the daughter, of course, and the son can do this too. Usually the boys are like, I don't care what I look like. They use this. But they might go, but the healthy thing is we go, good for you. Are they dressed properly for the elements? Yes. Who gives a rip? I mean, what difference does that make? Now, Now, it's a total issue altogether if you say, I want to dress, a boy wants to dress in a girl, boy wants to dress in a dress the whole time. I don't mind having conversations. Maybe there's certain things usually boys wear and things usually girls wear. And I would encourage you usually what boys and girls wear. As a Christian, I have no problem saying that. We say it to our own children. But if they're properly for the elements, I still, my son, or daughter knew this much because, well, my analogy fits. Son, he would say, Dad, you like so-and-so? I go, well, I wouldn't wear that, but, or I wouldn't have that haircut, but it looks good on you, I guess, if that's what you want. Well, Dad, I mean, I'm not making fun. I'm just saying it's, and when we go to school, we buy clothes. Dad, do you like it? I go, well, I do, but I want you to like it. I mean, I'm willing to respect their no. Like, Dad, and Julia says many times, Dad, people don't wear that. I go, okay, do you want to? Well, no, okay. I mean, I'm not going to make you wear that. But also depended. If every shirt showed half of her stomach, you respected my no. But I'm buying them. I'm not buying those things for you. So you're trying your best to think of things. No. You might get your feelings hurt. I don't want to hug you. Okay. Okay, your parent, remember I taught this many times. Your children don't owe you hugs. They don't owe you kisses. They don't owe you that. It's their body. No one gets to touch their body but a caretaker or physician when it's needed. So when they're very little, I need to bathe them. I need to wipe their diaper, bottom for diaper. If a physician needs to handle them. Besides that, it's not your body, it's their body. You make me sad. You don't. That's something wrong with you, not your child. Come here, give me a hug. No. So you try your best to respect that. It teaches them the power that no matters. But if they go, well, no, I'm not doing my homework. Well, yeah, you will. Or you don't have to, but here are the consequences. Right? Because you're the one that knows more than they do. You're just trying to find anywhere at all you can respect their no. Teach the connection between choices and consequences. If they make a choice, they own the outcome, positive or negative. You teach them that. See, when you did that, this happened. That's it. You ask reflexive questions like, what other choices could you have made? How did that choice affect your day? You want to role play a better choice together? That's so powerful. Oh my goodness, so many times. Daddy, Joey came in the playground. We were at the playground and I wanted to be Cinderella. And she said she was Cinderella. No. And I didn't. And just with tears because they had to choose they can't be more than one princess at the time. I remember going, Michael, mine. I said, baby, help me understand. Why can't you both be? Why can't you both? I'm just curious. Why? No, there's only one at a time. I go, okay. So we'd role play what to say down the future. What do we do for the playground? What do we do at school and so? If a teacher does this. If someone says, you don't know that already? We'd role play. Here's something you might say in response to that. Boy, I mean, it just enables a sense of what to do in response. That's better choices. Did you notice how you got that good grade because you chose to study and not play a video game? Do you see how your friend tells you that sensitive information because you've been trustworthy with him? Do you see those consequences? Good for you. Way to go. Not just when it's negative, but positive. Baby, notice how your friends really open up to you about emotional stuff? You notice that? That's because you're trustworthy. You handle that emotional part of them safety, and that's a big deal. I'm really proud of you. That's really good. Notice how you're confidential when they get older. Notice how you keep it, not just keep secrets. You're confidential. People trust you, and I'm real proud of you for that. Because of that, people open up and they feel safe around you. You can on the laundry list of things like that. You can ask them therapy questions. Why did you make that choice? When you saw that was that last drink or there was a drink at the cafeteria and you pushed the person, why did you do that? I'm really curious. I'm not yelling when I say that. You're trying to help them understand what was going on inside of you. When the kids were on the playground and they were all playing and you ran off and did your own thing and you crossed your arms, remember that? Why did you do that, baby? What was going on inside your heart and mind when you ran off? What were you thinking or feeling back then? Well, let's think about that together. Because as the adult in the room, in the space, you're trying to help them process. You don't want kids to develop a black sheep mentality. If other people have fun, I have got to be the person who's not having fun, so someone comes and checks on me. That's a black sheep. They'll never get out of that unless they get therapy. They'll do it at work, at church, at home. You're trying to help people navigate their emotions. They might not know what's going on inside of them. Every time you play that game, it turns into a fight. Why is that? When so-and-so scored the touchdown and you didn't get it and you pushed them, what were you thinking or feeling right before you pushed them? you're thinking about their choices and why they chose it. You're helping them become self-observant. What a powerful character trait. Any question or comments about choices? I'm just introducing the concept. Do you see how different this is than just, don't do that, just stop, versus let's reflect together. Let's reflect together. Why don't you like so-and-so? I'm not asking that shaming. Why don't you like it? Maybe I want to. And if you got, may have several siblings, they're all eavesdropping, pull them aside. You're not there to embarrass them. It's not to shame them. Hey, I was thinking about, why did you do so-and-so? If you're on a car trip, hey, let's think about this. Why did you make that face when I said so-and-so to so-and-so? Many times we did this in our home, and it was helpful. But we had to... man, I want to give you some of the stories. I don't want to divulge too much because you've been around my children. I want them to come here and like, you told me everything about everything. We have several examples of this where through the years, why did you make that choice? Help me understand. And as they got older, they reflect upon that and go, Dad, I remember when you talked, yeah, that's exactly why I did it. Now you can just see the wheels turning. And I'm so proud of those moments where they have owned more and more self-reflection. It's just very powerful. That's a trait I want them to have until the kingdom come. Page 27, feelings. A boundary-honoring parent does not fear their child's emotions. They disciple them through them, right? Disciple them through their feelings. I've said this as much as my nose bleeds at this church in every place. Let people feel things. Children must be permitted to feel all the emotions, grief, sadness, anger, despair, even rage. You're not there to stop feelings. You're not there to stop feelings. You're not there to stop feelings. Stop trying to fix your child's distressing emotional states. Stop trying to fix your child's distressing feelings. That's not how the world works. That's not how God wants us to work. God designed distressful feelings to be a radar system that something doesn't feel right. And we need to pay attention to it. Now, maybe the radar is skewed and broken. Fine, but we're still going to pay attention to it. And then we process it. We do that by identifying it, and we express that emotion in healthy ways. What we don't do is try to fix it. That stifles the emotion. We start developing shame for having emotions, and then we stuff our emotions. Just the ones that mom and dad didn't like us to express. And then they're going to see me in 20 years. From parents that told them to keep their mouth shut, don't feel that, that's bad. Here's a lollipop, here's a donut. Here's $5, here's a video game, run and go feel better as soon as possible. I'll teach you something to cry about. We just stuff. Children must be permitted to feel every emotional state. Feel it. How do you feel right now? As they grow up, we teach them how to identify they feel, how to label it, and then how do we express these things. And it's wonderful conversations over dinner tables, lunch tables, breakfast tables. Let's talk about feelings. Let's talk about Jesus. Let's talk about choices. Let's talk about consequences. Let me give it. Here's a chart on Google. Here's 50 different emotional states. Look at the different faces. Which one do you feel? When you're at school, which one? Talk about emotions. Encourage it at home. You don't shame your child for their feelings. We're not judged for feeling anger. It's just how we act in it. Christians a lot of times get that messed up. Christians go, no, anger is bad. No, it's not. That's how we act in anger. God himself in the Bible has anger moments. In Hebrew, it literally says, and his nostrils smoked. He's like a bull. Literally, it's an idiom, but we usually says, and he was mad or something. So the biblical authors give God emotional states. Whether he feels it the same way as humans, that's debated amongst theologians. But they're not sinful. They're just signals on something, even anger. We don't shame them. We don't shame them. And again, we help children label them because they can articulate them. Watch their bodies. If they're very young, they get older. Well, even if they're older, if you've not done a good job, you can start now. But watch how their bodies behave. Is she withdrawn? Is she over there not playing? Is she crying? Is he over there withdrawing and crying in the shadows? Is he extra violent today? Is he real pushy? Are they fidgeting a lot? Are they biting their nails? Are they on their phone all the time and can't look me in the eyeball? Are they not able to have a conversation? Are they hitting because they don't have words yet to say that something's bothering them? Watch their bodies, and you help them label. Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling scared? Are you feeling sad? Do you feel sad? Do you feel angry right now? What's going on inside you? And then you normalize it and you validate it. It's okay to be scared. I get scared too sometimes. That was a hard moment. Want to tell me more about how it felt? That was difficult. You seem upset. Do you want a break from this, or do you want a hug? What would help you? You seem upset. Do you need a few minutes on your own? Do you want me to be here with you? Do you want to talk? You teach that expression without explosion. It's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to scream at me. So try again with respectful words. How do you feel? Hey, it's okay to be angry at your friend. It's okay to be mad about that. We don't want to talk that way, though. So the best thing is what I've just taught you 500 times this morning, and every time I've ever taught emotional stuff here at Hill Church, you keep saying, you label it, you identify it. That's how you talk about anger, for example. I'm feeling angry. I feel angry right now because what happened? Usually a boundary violation or an unmet expectation. That's it. It always comes down with, I wanted to win the game and I didn't. I'm sorry. That is, it makes you mad. What makes you mad about it? Because I wanted it. And you didn't get what you wanted? Yeah, that's understandable. But remember, as all therapists that we all are, we know what anger really usually is, and that's just a hard candy shell. What you're really doing is protecting sadness. So that you always follow up. If you're a good therapist parent, the next question is, does it also make you sad that you lost? Does it make you disappointed? Feel a little upset about that? No, I'm just mad. Okay. Like, no, you're not. But your angry part is there talking to me. That's fine. That's fine. But when they can calm down a little bit, say later on, maybe later on an hour, maybe it's the next day. Would you feel real disappointed you lost that game? Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's okay to feel disappointed. Why? Because you worked hard and you lost. And when we feel lost things, I get sad too when I get disappointed. Sometimes I didn't get jobs I wanted. Sometimes I didn't get games when I was a kid. That makes me sad too. So you're helping them identify it, label it, express it in healthy ways, talk about it. That is the epitome of health. The absolute opposite is stuff, what's wrong with you, shame, shame, shame. Or you teach them the ways of the world, just good old, I know you don't like good old straight paganism, just good old non-Christian paganism. Hit them back, slap them, spit on them. Well, I just cut them off the rest of my life. Cuss them out, let them have it. And that's the exact opposite of the teaching of Jesus, who said, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, pray for them. Do not persecute them, he said. So we want to be able to express ourselves and stand up for ourselves, our feelings, and have healthy boundaries simultaneously. I don't feel comfortable the way you're talking to me right now. I don't feel comfortable with that at all. I want to talk to you, but that feels disrespectful to me. Can we try again? And if they can't, well, you leave the conversation. You're done. You walk away. You hang up the phone. You might have to block the person. They're your ears. They're your face. You don't have to be in their presence if you don't want to. We teach our kids that. And we teach our kids, well, they were upset. Well, a person on the cross you're talking to, they can be upset too, right? They have feelings too, just like you do. We're not running away every time someone's upset. We're not tolerating toxic behavior, dysfunctional behavior, abusive things. We have to teach them, this is what I mean by that. If they're yelling at you, cussing at you, screaming at you, if they're threatening you, they're trying to intimidate you, they're having physical force, punching, shoving, dragging, pulling, pinching. If they touch your body at all and you didn't ask for it, that's unacceptable. It's intolerant. It's intolerable. You need to be intolerant of that. And you need to say so. You role play. Here's what I would say. You back up. And you say, raise your hand. You role play with that. That's not the same as, I'm talking to Timmy and he got mad at me. And so I punched him. What? Timmy has the right to be mad. You have the right to be mad. Well, Susie didn't. She made an ugly face at me in school. I'm sorry to hear about that. Well, so I just told everybody she was a whore. Why did you do that? Because she made an ugly face at me. But that's not the appropriate response to someone's face. I mean, let's talk about that. How did you feel when she made that face? I mean, we need to talk appropriate ways to respond to this. So it's not just feelings of your child, but you're normalizing feelings in other people. Any questions about that? Any comments about that? I know it might be triggering. Some of you grew up in homes where that was not true at all. I respect that.
How do you teach your teenager to have a voice through her father setting her own boundaries?
So how do you teach your daughter how to have her own voice,
Setting boundaries with her father.
setting boundaries with the father? Great. So the short answer is I would have to role play with her if I were a parent. Role play. Yeah, I really would role play. And that's a fantastic question. A little footnote, since I know a lot about that situation, but to encourage y'all, I've told people many times, adults and children, I mean, just listen. This helps sometimes normalize you too to say, we're trying to make the best out of a crappy situation. So it helps diminish the sense of what's the perfect, we don't live in the dream world. Yeah, what words you're allowed to say in a tough situation. My point is, you're trying to normalize it. Listen, I, it helps the person in the middle of that storm feel validated that this feels chaotic. It feels like this feels icky, or it's difficult, or it's tough. So I'm immediately acknowledging that by saying, I know this whole show's just difficult. You're in a tough spot. I acknowledge that. And I love you and I'm proud of you. So what's the best thing we can do in the tough spot? That way it's not, if you'll just say these things, it's like the magic pill. Now, I've known people, they mean well, and they didn't communicate, this is the magic pill. But there's like this implication when children and parents almost like, well, I tried, it didn't work. I still feel upset, or they didn't change their behavior. And so I'm trying to start up by going, this is tough. It's a crappy situation. I'm very sorry. It is. And I'm proud of you for trying to do the right thing. Having said that, what's the best we can do in this situation? So the first step one is you do have a self. Your opinion does matter. Your values do matter because you matter, period. I don't care if it's at home with dad or it's McDonald's with Kathy Crockett, whatever it is. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Whatever, where you go, at school, at home, you matter, period. Now, what does that mean is step two, which is we teach them boundaries. No one has the right to touch your body ever. No one has the right to yell, scream, and cuss at you. You have to stay in the room. By right, one more time, I don't mean the right you have to stop them. I said on the right, which means you have to stay in the room to hear it. See, a non-Christian, because they're childish and they're immature, they think the response to someone doing something they don't like is to stop the person. I've got to beat them down. I have to yell louder. I have to cuss them out louder. I have to fight. Versus the Christian response is, no, I have to leave the space. And so we teach our children you matter. And then two is, let's role play on areas where you might need to leave that space. What if you can't leave that space and you're got a dominant parent who just, that's the next thing I'm going to talk about here in just a second. And that is, you might have to have, and then we role play mental tricks on the inside to help not disassociate, but have internal mental boundaries. So there's steps you can go through that help alleviate some pressure. So we're establishing clear boundaries. I don't care if the Pope came and yelled at you like that, you leave the room. But if you can't leave the room, here's the next thing I would do. Does that make sense? So you're in for. Just because your authority doesn't make him right. That's exactly right. Hitler was an authority. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, authority does not equal righteousness. You're right. Good heavens, no. Oh, well, let me go next because this is making people really mad. Just because it's your dad doesn't mean he's right. Just because your mom doesn't mean he's right. Just because it's biological. No. I disagree if I'm not making that clear enough. You had sex and had a progeny. That does not at all mean everything comes out of your mouth is God ordained and you're Jesus incarnate. That's my seed. No. That just does not follow. David, Deuteronomy 6, I'm all about that. But the biblical authors are assuming the person, the parent, to whom they're speaking, are devout Christians in Ephesians 5 and 6. Don't provoke your child to anger. He's assuming a Christian home. Not everybody's a Christian. Even if they claim the name, not every person is a Christian. So just because you're biologically related does not mean you have to obey everything they're saying. That is not what it means. By the way, a little footnote, honor your father. That's not what it means there either. I get worked up about that. I get worked up because I've heard that said so much, sometimes by well-intentioned people. But what it does is it sticks. It has the child get stuck in this abusive relationship. Well, what am I going to do? It's their dad. What am I going to do? It's their mom. What do you mean what are you going to do? You stand up for your child. That's why there are times it's very appropriate for the government to come and say, you have lost the right for you to be near your child. You're not fit for it. Imagine if we had to go through rigorous screening and test before you could have sex. And boy, what if we made, can you imagine? Okay. Enough dreaming. Anything else, question or comments? Page 27? Yes, please. Talking about neurotypical children? Yes. It, thank you. Yeah, so a couple week or two ago, I won't say the name for the video, but you brought up what about neurodivergent children? And I said, please, please, please bring that up. I don't want to forget about that. Fantastic. That's right. So this study about helping children learn, that choice affected this. I need to be responsible. That in general works for most children most of the time. And then, of course, the people that are outliers for neurodivergent, low IQ, whatever. Absolutely. And so parents ideally work with specialists in those fields. So, for example, I have several friends who have all children with various forms of autism, various not forms, I guess, but degrees of severity. And of course, the wise thing there, and they do, is they work with people who specialize in autism. And so, if they looked at this chart on, or these handouts and go, "This sure sounds nice," they can always just, "Oh, now I learned my lesson," but I can repeat it 28,000 times, and they still haven't learned. I completely agree and respect and appreciate that completely. That's just period. My response to that would say is I would still say that outside of really extreme, and there are extreme, they're extreme where some children, they're never going to get some of the stuff I'm talking about. They just won't get it. They don't have, some are nonverbal. They're never going to say, "I feel sad today." It's not going to happen. And so this whole thing about teach your children how to express their, absolutely. It won't, sometimes it simply it won't apply to them. I would say is to parents who do have children who are not neurodivergent, is you simply, I still think the principles are right and true, and then ideally you trust the wisdom of the parent with specialists to say, I'm trying to help my child have character development, right? I want to teach them boundaries, consequences. Help me get at it the best. Now, there are times I've known parents who have children with a struggle, and they say, well, they learned that the consequence, let's say a grounding, I had to ground them, but I had to do it, 30 times more than David did because of whatever. I'm like, good heavens, that must be tiring. But eventually but that depends on the child. But still, the principle is that natural consequences are healthy. What is not healthy is yelling, screaming, cussing. You see, it's still true. They might not grasp the concept, they might not stick in, but from a parent's responsibility, I think this still holds no matter what. I'm not trying to be too verbose, but I absolutely appreciate that. That's right. So ideally, and I know you were one of those persons, we take the best we can and filter out, okay, from my child. So my role, I think what I've given here is the healthy Christian way parent to do it. How it's applied to the child and what sticks depends on the particular child. Completely agree. Is that helpful? Completely agree. I would still try to say, how did you feel when you, I would still try. But I've known people, I know children right now who are basically nonverbal, like probably the rest of their lives, and they'll have pointed pictures. Well, let's point at pictures. I'll have a feeling chart. They can point out a smiley face or something or whatever. I'm still trying to help you, at least let me know what you feel. And then I'm going to try, anyway. No, thank you for that. Well, the time we have, we got some, I want to make sure I finish this part today, bottom page 27, unless there's any more questions or comments about that. No, thank you. When parents don't respect boundaries, this last section is really, may not apply to much of y'all, but this helps for children. This is for kids right now, but also, what do I do? Let's say, for example, you have a child who has to go to your ex-wife, ex-husband, or a baby mama, daddy, whatever, or someone, maybe it's a grandchild, maybe it's a cousin, maybe it's someone else. What do you do to someone else as a child stuck in a situation? So here's what I want to encourage them to do, and maybe y'all, I guess you're all like pretty adults here, but when your parent is controlling, manipulative, emotionally unsafe, or unpredictable, it can feel like you're completely trapped. It just can. It can feel overwhelming. But you can't change your parent. You can begin to build boundaries on the inside. And they can form, even in an environment where external boundaries are not respected. They can form. So, for example, you want to get the child to say, I want to name what's happening. You may not be able to confront your parent yet, but you can tell the truth to yourself and to save people. Like, this is not okay. I'm not responsible for their emotions. I didn't cause their pain. On the inside, the child can say that. I'm not responsible for this. This is not okay. The way he's yelling at me right now, I do not deserve this, and he's acting like a lunatic, and I don't deserve this. That internal reaffirmation over and over and over, I don't deserve this. I shouldn't be yelled at. I should not be called stupid because I didn't get mathematical equations instantaneously. That was rude of him. It was mean. And your inside, you can say that. You need to be validated that you're not your dysfunctional parent. You do need to be validated. On the inside, a journal, and of course, ideally, a safe someone else. At least one other person you go to and say, I'm being mistreated. This guy's yelling at me or cussing or whatever. And that ideally, and if you're, say, it's a baby daddy, mama, daddy, or ex, whatever, then you be the parent that's safe and loving, and you can absorb. I'm so very sorry. You're right. You did not deserve that. He should never, ever have cussed you out. He didn't. You're right. I'm so very sorry. I'm so very sorry. How do you feel about that? And they might start crying. I'm proud of you for telling me. I'm so sorry. You did not deserve that. Over and over and over and over. Now, what you didn't do, what you don't want to do is, that's no good son. I told you he's a no good. Now you're just letting your part of you that needs to vent, and now they've become your therapist. Stop making your child a therapist. They need you or your cousin or that nephew and niece. They need you. They need a safe place just not to make it about you, but them, and let them grieve. And trauma can sometimes be overwhelming. You want to shut down the system. Grieving helps you process all that, right, that the parent's causing. I've known people been through some horrible stuff, and a minimal, a journal page in their room with the door shut, and they can cry and cry and cry, and they can. It's enough to get some of it out. So you name, it's not right that this is happening. It is not right that this is happening. Name it. And then learn where your responsibilities begin and end. You are responsible for your choices, your words, your attitude, behavior. All right, we've talked about that. You are responsible for your words, your choices, your attitude, and your behavior. You're not responsible for your parents' feelings, their mental health, their trauma, their reactions. Jesus never asked children to carry their parents' emotional burdens. It's not heavy for you, and it's not yours to carry. It's too heavy for the child, and it's not your burden to carry. You're not there to make sure your parents are healthy and safe and not addicted to drugs or alcohol or not a serious disorder or they're refusing therapy. It's not your responsibility. You're responsible for how you behave. And so that parent might be going, you're blah, 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 blah. And we'll talk about mental things in a second. But in the moment, if they were videotape recording it, you want to be the person in the room who was basically the adult. I mean, you were the calm one, but I'm not responsible for them. I don't have to bend over backwards to make sure they calm down. I don't have to change this to make sure they're not an addict. I'm responsible for me. This is my world right here, and I'm responsible for me. 3, you practice internal boundaries. So even if you can leave the house, if you can leave the phone conversation, if you can leave the car, wonderful. If you can't, or refuse your parents' request, you can still set boundaries in your heart and mind. Now, I'm going to read this carefully. You can practice wise internal boundaries, mental and emotional distancing. It's conscious, it's intentional, it's protective, without disconnecting from the self. So emotional distancing that is conscious, intentional, and protective without disconnecting from the self. For example, I don't need to carry what my parent can't. If things get tense, it's okay for me to take a break inside my head, but I'll stay with myself. I'll talk to myself like a friend would, or a nurturing parent would. I'll keep telling the truth. I'm not responsible for his behavior. I will stay calm even if they're yelling. I will not let their guilt trips define me. I will pray instead of reacting. That's internal boundaries. That is not disassociating. Disassociating is a trauma response where you leave yourself. Your mind leaves your body and you check out into the void and you get numb. That's losing yourself. Internal boundaries is I'm actually present in the moment. And I'm reassuring myself and being kind to myself. Nope, I don't deserve this, not right. I'm responsible for myself. I'm doing a great job. Look how proud I am of me. I'm just sitting here. I'm not beaten to a pulp right now or stabbing them or cussing them out too, or I'm not overreacting like they are. They need therapy. I don't right now. I will later on. But I'm not their parent. I'm not here to fix the way he's doing this. I'm not here. I'm talking about, I'm very present. And I'm just telling myself, it's like if you go to a movie and you time travel or and they could go, they're going, rah, 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 and a voice comes up just gently on their shoulder, like Jesus himself, and says, baby, we got this. This will all be over soon. Stay with me. I love you. I'm proud of you. And if there's physical harm, we're going to get out of this, all right? But right now, on the side, I love you. I'm proud of you. They're saying kind things on the inside. And then the storm goes away most of the time. And that's only if you can't leave the space. And you plan for the future. You're not going to always live there forever. Every act of clarity, every time you speak truth to a friend, every time you journal or pray, read scripture, you're building a future self that's going to be strong, loving, and free. You don't have to be what you came in. You can break the cycle. Period. Period. I can't tell you how much I've broken my cycle. I know people have the same thing, like, no, I am nothing at all like I used to be. My childhood is what I mean. Whew, I'm very different from mom or dad or siblings or uncles. Very different. And I won't be here forever. I'll have my own life, and that's it. And you need to pray and stay rooted in the truth. When you can't trust your environment, trust God. And He sees everything. He sees pain, confusion, your longing for love. He's your perfect parent. I like Psalm 27:10. Even if my father and mother abandon me, the Lord would take me in. His love is not manipulative, selfish, or unstable. It's patient, kind, and safe. You may feel stuck now, but God is not stuck. And He's forming something holy in you even through this. You're not invisible, you're not crazy, and you're not alone. Period. Period. God has the final say, and He's going to work you through this horrific childhood, and you'll let Him do it. And these steps will be very, very helpful and practical. Any questions or comments about that? Hey, Tim, click mute for me in a second, if you don't mind. 1 second. Any questions or comments about that? Nope. So it can start with helping your child or someone else's child. It's like you've been struggling lately. How are you doing? How are you feeling? On a very, very different note, probably 4 weeks ago, I had another handout called the Dating Discernment Companion, and they were all swiped, and I forgot to mention it. This isn't for you old folks who are married. I'm kidding. You can you can give it to people who are, I hope not, like, I'm going to date on the side. I'm looking at you. But this is for, I made a thing to help this is gold to me. I wish I'd had this when I dated. And it's a way to help you get ready for a date. Pre-date, and then question to ask on the date, post-date evaluation. How do I tell people yes or no to the date if I want to go forward? I give you tips through all this. And so and in the back of my mind, I've been wanting to do a Christian app for a long time, but it takes a lot of money and time to do an app. But this is a small version of that. And I'm probably going to turn this to a little booklet at some point. But this is for anybody who is dating or wants to date. And if you want more copies, I can give you some. But that's why this is for. And I printed out 5 more copies back there. You're free to take. Really, anybody can take them. But that's what this is. This isn't part of the study. It's just a supplement material. It came from my daughter Julia about 6 weeks ago. She goes, Dad, how do we know we're looking for the right thing on a date? I go, what a good question. So this is where this comes from. I give my daughter credit for that. Let me say a prayer for us. We're out of time. Thank you, Lord Jesus, so much for the ability, again, to try to do it in a healthy way. I do also ask, Holy Spirit, for wisdom for us parents to do it right, and that you would help diminish how much our imperfections and our woundedness and our sinful desires and choices sometimes reflect on our parenting. Please help us not do it wrongly. Please help us raise your children, because we are just stewards. Please help us raise them in a way that honors you, that makes you happy. Please help us want this. Want to raise children who have Christian character. Help us form them as best as we possibly can by your grace, by your enabling. For us who are raising children in complex situations of previous relationships and on, we ask for that wisdom too, to navigate well with children of different neural capacities. Help us raise them well, and help us not let the shaming voice or fear or anything else dictate our choices, but instead your voice dictate our choices. Help us reach out for help and support when we need it as parents. We love you. Thank you for loving us and loving our precious children. Amen.
I'm gonna pray.